Are the enigmatic Samadhi caves a mere modern fabrication, or do they conceal an ancient secret that holds some of the most compelling evidence regarding the genesis of humanity? And did Muldashev's secret expedition prove that ancient giants are still alive? We're about to find out in the new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome! The Samadhi state, a realm supposedly accessible to Lemurians, Atlanteans, and high-energy beings, is believed to be a temporal vault that preserves universal knowledge and laws. Samadhi is a state of profound meditation believed to liberate the soul from the constraints of the physical form, enabling interdimensional voyages. Yet it's also said that the physical body can fully revive at any point, letting the individual resume their ordinary life as if they've just awakened from sleep. This state, known as Samadhi or Samadhi in Hindu philosophy, represents an extremely deep and elevated form of meditation. Samadhi is a profound state of meditative consciousness that's often considered the pinnacle of yoga and meditation practices. It's a transcendent state where individual consciousness merges with the universal or divine consciousness. It is the epitome of spiritual enlightenment, a state of perfect equanimity and inner peace. Here, the body becomes as rigid as stone, teetering on the edge of consciousness and sleep. Despite maintaining vital bodily functions, contemporary medicine struggles to decipher the mechanisms behind this phenomenon. Only a handful of individuals over many centuries have successfully achieved this meditative state. Our story today revolves around a certain professor, Ernst Muldashev. His fascinating journeys to the Himalayas brought him face to face with the enigmatic state of Samadhi. Driven by curiosity, he sought to unravel its mysteries and find tangible proof of its existence. Ernst Muldashev is a renowned physician, known for his groundbreaking work in eye transplantation, which has restored sight to hundreds of visually impaired individuals. A fervent researcher, Dr. Muldashev has carried out numerous studies in Tibet, delving into the mystic practice of Samadhi. Dr. Muldashev and his team conducted extensive research on the diverse races of humanity. They arrived at a compelling theory that suggests all of humanity might trace its origins back to Tibet. According to their hypothesis, our genetic ancestry directs us to this region, and from there, our ancestors gradually dispersed across the globe. Inspired by this theory, Dr. Muldashev's team devoted their attention to the artworks displayed on Tibetan temples. Leveraging the method of eye geometry, they reconstructed an exemplary head based on the depicted eye parameters. The outcome of this exercise resulted in a fascinating image, shedding new light on our understanding of human origin. And together with him, he went on an expedition from India through Nepal to Tibet. In his quest for understanding, Professor Muldashev interacts with various monks across different monasteries. His drawn image invokes astonishing reactions from them. Certain monks query him directly, asking if he found the depicted figure's body in the mountains or the sea. To those more enlightened, he explains that the drawing is an outcome of meticulous geometric studies of the cornea. It is based on the mathematical approximation of average eye parameters, which were then compared to unique eyes portrayed in Tibetan temples. Through these studies and subsequent computerized comparisons, he could replicate the appearance of people with these unique eyes. The surprising results show a big bump on the head instead of a nose and 3 eyes. Muldashev guesses that this could be how the legendary Atlanteans might have looked like. Furthermore, Muldashev proposes that Samadhi could be humanity's lifeline. He believes that this state allows preservation of the body across centuries. If required, it could enable the initiation of a completely new civilization. On our planet, many civilizations have come and gone. Each time, those emerging from Samadhi give rise to a new humanity. During one expedition, Muldashev and his team, with the help of the monks who protect and serve these sites, discover a Samadhi cave. The monks respond to the most profound and mysterious inquiries with a single phrase, "I won't even tell God about it." The team journeys to a village located 3,000 meters above sea level. There, no one speaks English, so they rely entirely on their translator, Kiram. When asked about the presence of caves, the villagers confirm there are many. But at the mention of Samadhi, they fall silent. In this village, they encountered two unusual individuals. Despite being 60 and 95 years old respectively, they appear youthful. These two are initiates who guard and maintain the caves, visiting them monthly. After spending 3 days with them, any talk of the caves still meets with silence. Their interest is apparent, but an oath of secrecy prevents them from revealing or probing further. The next day, the younger monk discloses during a meeting that gaining access to a Samadhi cave requires an application process and a trial of meditation. When Muldashev queries who provides the permission, the monk reflects the question back to him. The person granting access, the monk elaborates, is the one residing in the cave, a human in a state of Samadhi. With the elder too old for this task, the young monk is now the sole guardian of the cave. He keeps silent when asked if there are others in the same state in different cave chambers. He describes how he enters a meditative state a week before the cave visit. As he starts praying and intensifies his meditation inside the cave, he is allowed to approach the Samadhi. The monk then explains the peculiar energy within the cave, saying that visitors can experience headaches. Ignoring these symptoms can lead to death. In describing the cave's interior, the monk talks about a hall where a peculiar headache begins to creep in. The most dangerous part, however, is the connecting passage between the halls due to its concentrated, intense energy. When questioned about the specifics of the person in Samadhi, their location, conversation, physical size, his exclusive access and appearance, the monk repeats the same answer: it's a secret. All he reveals is that sometimes the person in Samadhi is clothed and sometimes not, sitting in the Buddha's pose, their body cold and hard. The story takes a turn when the older man is presented with the drawing of the hypothetical Atlantean. The old man scrutinizes the drawing and says, "I won't tell you anything about the Samadhi cave. It's a big secret." Unwilling to give up, they probe further with a series of questions, beginning with whether a person like the one depicted in their drawing exists inside the cave. The guardian responds that while he hasn't seen such beings in the sections of the cave he frequents, there are others who bear a resemblance. Upon inspecting the drawing, the guardian grows eager, questioning its origin. He explains that not all have a third eye. It's more a symbol than an actual feature. Some have larger, extraordinary eyes, while others are quite average. Similar diversity exists with their noses and ears. Some are small, while others are large. Muldashev shares an excerpt from his book, directly questioning the guardian on the existence of ancient people in the caves, their distinct features: a large skull, unique eyes, a small nose, large ears, a big body, a robust chest, and whether they could be considered the most ancient people. The guardian, however, responds with cryptic mentions of a secret. Inquiry into whether the caves harbor individuals from previous civilizations in a state of Samadhi brings an intriguing reply. The guardian suggests that the duration one can remain in Samadhi within the cave depends on the strength of their spirit, suggesting a potential span of thousands to even millions of years. The elderly man, who has been the guardian of the Samadhi cave for many years, admits to never witnessing someone enter Samadhi. He explains that those who have tried and failed could not pass the trial meditation, attributing it to the lack of fortitude in modern people compared to their ancient counterparts. This, he posits, could prevent them from crossing the psycho-energy barrier into the cave. The guardian reveals that individuals in Samadhi always maintain a stationary position, some resembling the pose of Buddha. He chooses his words cautiously, only sharing what he's certain of, as he's a guard, not someone to stand around asking questions. Further details include that those in Samadhi usually sit on tiger skin, their bodies feeling dense and cold to the touch, their eyes half closed and turned upwards, showing only the whites, like someone asleep. He whispers to Lobenkov that these details prove that people in Samadhi are alive. When asked about the caves being protected by high-energy spirits, the guardian reverts to his cryptic reply: "It's a secret." In the end, Muldashev and his colleagues interpret the Guardian's cryptic secret response to most likely mean yes. They ask if there are other Samadhi caves across the world. The Guardian affirms, mentioning Nepal, Tibet, China, and India as locations. As time rolls around for the third control session of questions, despite being convinced of the old Guardian's honesty, they pose another question. Can we ever enter a Samadhi cave? But silence is again their only response. Caught off guard by their audacious question, the elderly Guardian replies, "You wouldn't survive the trial meditation. So far, only I and my younger counterpart have succeeded. It's highly risky." Despite their good intentions, he seems dubious. The plea to at least have an attempt. The old man, seemingly empathetic, promises to consider it and asks them to return the next day. Their encounter with the Guardian gives them unprecedented insights into the lives of those in Samadhi from various civilizations. On their next meeting, they appeal to him for just a glimpse inside the cave, promising to respect the prohibition on photos and videos. After consulting with the younger Guardian, the 95-year-old consents for one of them to try entering the cave. But don't count on getting in, he warns. None have crossed the trial of meditation. And remember, if you start feeling ill, retreat immediately or you'll lose your life. Understood? Despite the stern warning, Muldashev is undeterred. The team unanimously decides that he will be the one to attempt entering the moss-covered cave. But what did they find there? In recent years, a hypothesis has stirred debate among paranormal researchers. They propose that a hidden depository filled with preserved bodies of individuals from various ancient civilizations exists. Such a collection, a sort of living library of humanity, could solve many historical mysteries. For example, it could explain the origin of Buddha and the inexplicably advanced knowledge he possessed and shared around 2,050 years ago. Of course, such a depository would not be easily accessible. These Samadhi locations are thought to be guarded by psycho-energy barriers that operate on the principle of remote hypnosis. There have been numerous documented instances of people dying suddenly after trying to enter these Tibetan caves. Only those who hold high religious positions and are adept in special forms of meditation are said to gain entry. Before we delve further into Ernst Muldashev's expedition and his attempt to enter one of these elusive caves, let's take a moment to reflect on history. Back in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler himself organized and funded several expeditions to uncover the enigma of Tibet. These expeditions documented that upon entering certain caves, members experienced intense headaches and were unable to proceed further. The peculiar pains and mental stress are described in detail in Muldashev's books, In Search of the City of Gods and In the Arms of Shambhala. Although Hitler's discoveries remain undisclosed, it's known that he kept a lifelong connection with a mysterious Tibetan monk, referred to as the key holder. This raises a question. Could Count Saint Germain, who claimed he would retreat to his secret sanctuary in the Himalayas for rest before his eventual return to Earth, be among those preserved in Samadhi? According to Dr. Muldashev, there are 3 distinct types of Samadhi caves. The first kind houses beings from our own civilization, including figures such as Saint Germain. The second type is populated with Atlanteans and individuals from even older civilizations, such as Lemuria, Hyperborea, and Atlantis. The third is a mixed category, hosting people from both our current civilization and earlier ones. Now, let's delve into Muldashev's experience within one of these caves. Preparing himself for the journey, he donned a thick jacket and a ski hat, making sure to check his flashlight. After a few meters into the narrow passage, it began to widen. After passing through this extended space, he found himself in a narrow tunnel, around 2 to 3 meters wide. Having walked 25 to 30 meters in utter darkness, he encountered an iron door, secured with a padlock. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him, causing his heart to jolt. But it was just the secret guard coming to unlock the door. The guard promptly vanished back into the shadows of the cave. The door was firmly set into the rock and cemented. Muldashev wondered if it was designed to lock behind him. Venturing further into the cave, he found himself in a spacious chamber. Cold air swirled around him. After moving another 15 to 20 meters, he paused, taking a moment to tune his senses. Yet, he felt no significant impact. Switching off his flashlight, he stood for a few minutes in the absolute darkness that only caves can afford, surrounded by silence. Fear was absent, likely a testament to his many years of athletic and surgical training, which conditioned him to maintain focus in complex situations. Resuming his journey, he soon spotted another passage about 2 meters wide on the opposite side of the chamber. He figured this tunnel marked the start of the psycho-energy barrier guarding the Samadhi cave. He began to scrutinize his feelings as he neared it. Initially, all seemed normal, but 2 meters from the tunnel's entrance, he started feeling mild anxiety. As he continued, this anxiety morphed into fear and soon escalated to a strong sense of resentment. His next steps were accompanied by an intense headache, just as the old guardian had described. Muldashev, a man unaccustomed to fear and no stranger to navigating treacherous mountain trails and cave exploration, recognized that his escalating fear and resentment were externally induced. The emotions were not arising from within him. Nevertheless, the feeling of resentment and his headache both intensified. Overcoming these sensations, he pressed forward another 10 meters, but the pain in his head became unbearable. He stopped, switched off his flashlight, and stood in total darkness, trying to focus and dispel the relentless headache. Muldashev felt as if an external force was compelling him to retreat, an impulse that seemed to emanate from something beyond himself. Igniting his flashlight once again, he summoned the last reserves of his willpower and staggered a few more steps forward. His head pounded with excruciating pain, and an abrupt weakness flooded his body, making it feel as if everything inside him was on the brink of exploding. He realized that he could not continue any further, or he would surely perish. Shining his flashlight ahead, he experienced an unexplained tingling sensation in his hand. The weak beam of light barely revealed the tunnel's end and the vast cavernous chamber beyond it. Despite his pain and disorientation, he strained his eyes to make sense of what lay ahead. The flickering illumination revealed stone formations and dark, elevated shapes on the ground. Could these be the figures in Samadhi resembling human forms? The dim light seemed to lend them an uncanny and more substantial appearance. Deciding he could not stay any longer, Muldashev turned back and retraced his steps. The journey out mirrored his inward journey. The same sensations of fear, resentment, and severe headaches emerged. It appeared this was the trial that one had to undergo to gain access to ancient wisdom. With the last vestiges of his strength, Muldashev made it out of the cave, physically unscathed, but forever imprinted with the experience. The experience of climbing mountains and interacting with the local people as part of a team is entirely different from the solitude of navigating an immense dark cave with nothing but a small flashlight while being subjected to an invisible force that impacts your entire being and conceals unfathomable mysteries in its depths. Upon his return to Russia, Muldashev underwent a comprehensive medical examination, which revealed no abnormalities. Despite the breathtaking experience, he couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment. He had been so close to the figures in Samadhi, yet he hadn't been able to study them thoroughly. From this expedition, several conclusions were drawn. The Samadhi caves indeed exist, housing diverse entities from different civilizations. These caves are guarded by a psycho-energy barrier that elicits emotions of fear, anxiety, severe headaches, and physical weakness in those unprepared for its force. This force is irresistible and invincible. But while these findings provide answers to numerous questions, they also generate even more mysteries. It's apparent that we are the products of millions of years of planetary evolution. Before us, there existed cultures possessing technologies far more advanced than ours. Whether these cultures simply vanished or continue to thrive somewhere remains an enigma. Muldashev posits that there exist individuals and beings from past civilizations who reside deep within the earth, secluded in underwater caves and hidden subterranean cities. These beings have reportedly achieved a level of consciousness that allows them to exert control over their bodily processes, effectively rendering their bodies almost immortal. Muldashev theorizes that these individuals, held in a state of suspended animation within the Samadhi caves, are a kind of planetary backup system. If our world begins to unravel, they would awaken and aid in the creation and initiation of a new epoch and civilization. While some may dismiss these claims as sheer fantasy, it's worth noting that in 1833, in Lompoc, California, soldiers excavating a powder store unearthed a nearly 4-meter-tall skeleton adorned with seashells and cryptic symbols. Next to this giant was a colossal battle axe, eerily similar to those associated with the Norse gods. In another instance, in 1891, builders in Crittenden, Arizona, came across a gigantic stone sarcophagus buried 3 meters below the Earth's surface. Inside the sarcophagus lay a coffin housing a gigantic humanoid being, almost 4 meters tall. A monk from the Dharamsala region narrated his brief encounter with the subterranean world beneath the Himalayas. But are all these accounts true? In the mystic cradle of the Himalayas, the alleged Samadhi caves whisper a tantalizing tale, one where entities from lost civilizations rest in deep spiritual hibernation. Dr. Ernst Muldashev and other esoteric scholars suggest that these figures are not just remnants of ancient societies like Atlantis and Lemuria, but active repositories of profound wisdom and knowledge protected by unseen psychic energy barriers accessible only to the highly spiritually enlightened. Yet, as we stand at the precipice of this enigma, we are left with more questions than answers. Is there truth in these legends, or are they simply the fabric of mystic folklore spun through the ages? Are these caves genuine sanctums of ancient wisdom, or a metaphorical representation of our collective pursuit of spiritual growth and understanding? What if these Samadhi caves do exist? What could we learn from the eternal wisdom they house? Could this knowledge reshape our understanding of the world and our place in it? Perhaps one day, these questions may find their answers. But until then, the secrets of the Samadhi caves remain as elusive and intriguing as the ancient civilizations they are set to safeguard. If you enjoyed and found this video intriguing, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more captivating content, and continue the adventure by watching our related videos on the screen right now. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.